I knew a girl named Nikki, I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine. She said, "How'd you like to waste some time?" And I could not resist when I saw little Nikki grind. The castle started spinning, or maybe it was my brain. I can't tell you what she did to me. Hey, Cesaro, back at the number one spot again. And SD is here. Gotcha, gotcha, man. Andrew, Steve is in. Erwin Elf. Please make your game better. EA, please make your game better and give us content. Yellow Flash, Callum, John, Jacob Howell, Q, Jonathan, Tim Converse on Goku. Willie Plays is in GMG. What I was thinking about today, excuse me, every once in a while I think of things. Not anything interesting. I was noticing, for being an old fart, as I am, most people my age, it seems, or at least most people that I know of around my generation, my age, are still like TV viewers, regular TV viewers, and I'm not. There's limited things on television I want. Usually, if I'm watching anything, it's usually streaming, whether it's YouTube or, well, I guess, I mean, some of what I watch on Netflix is old TV shows. So I guess that does that count at all? I don't know, but I'm just curious if you guys watch any TV at all, and if so, what? For me, it's pretty much sports. Is it my Notre Dame football? And then I'll watch wrestling every once in a while, but that's only if I'm in front of it while it's on. Adult Swim, yeah, Evan, that's a good. Adult Swim was always fun. It just seems like, well, I go to bed. Well, I'm old, so I need my sleep. I go to bed early because I get up early every day. Because the morning time is the best time for me to record videos for the channel and the Goosh, simply because the house is quiet and everything. So I get up really early, so I don't stay up very late anymore. So I hardly ever see that anymore. You can't stay, Wolverine? All right, well, hang out with us while you can. John says, Curtis, is it bad to say you remind me of the uncle who would give your nephew their first Playboy and be like, "Now don't tell your dad"? No, it might be bad to say it, but it's not inaccurate. I have nephews who can attest to as much. I can tell you guys a couple good stories about my one nephew and poor kid, the things that I embarrassed him with over the years and stuff. And yeah, I think I told you guys about I think I did. The one time we went down, there's convenience stores in our area, a chain of them called Stewart's, and they're popular convenience stores. And about the trip down there we made to get ice cream at one of the family birthday parties, it almost ended up in a brawl in the parking lot. I think I told you guys about that one. I watch all the anime. Giovanni says, Madman says too. I just stream either YouTube or Pornhub. The only TV that matters. Hey, yeah, that's you make a good point, Madman. A lot of times now, a big hunk of the time, if I'm watching TV, it's actually being streamed from elsewhere and just happens to be on the TV. Chrome says, "God, tomorrow will be May already." I know. I was thinking that earlier. Well, here's to another month of quarantine. Oh, and another G 100 from me. Oh, Chrome. Well, all of you guys. I don't have to wind you. I'm sure you're all feeling the same way. This shit's got to go away. Fuck you, COVID. Get the fuck out. Can't take much more. You seem like the type of uncle to ask the nephew to pee in a cup. Nah. Nah. Not that. See, I've never been a pot smoker or anybody that puts anything illegal into my system. But what somebody else does, as long as it's not endangering someone else, it makes no difference to me. Matt says, "Thanks for the lighthearted talk, bud. Can't stick around, but keep it up. Glad to have found this community." Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. I'm glad you could be in for a little while. Well, you could. I appreciate that. And Wolverine says he's content with his new name, Kaiju Connoisseur. Do you think so, Andrew? I'll bet you somebody will. Andrew says somewhere out there a parent is going to name their kid COVID. I'll bet you somebody will. You know what? As bizarre as that is, because I'm sure there's going to be with people locked in, there's going to be certainly a boom, a population boom of some sort 9 months from now. That would not surprise me. I don't know. Does COVID lean more towards the male or female, do you think? Oh, geez. Wait a second. I way overstepped my bounds. You can't assign a gender to a child just because they have a penis or a vagina. What a horrible person I am. Never mind that question. Philip says, "Hey Curtis, just watched you react to episode 6 of Rock Lee versus Gara. I gotta say, Rock Lee sure plays a mean pinball. Sure plays a mean pinball." Oh, thanks, Philip. Now that song will be now Elton John's in my head. It's a frightening thought. Rock Lee versus Gara. that was the first. The Rock Lee versus Gara fight was the first Naruto related stuff I ever watched, wasn't it? There was, come on, Willie, really? Willie says there was a chick who named her son Vagina to break gender norms. Yeah, give that kid a leg up on life there, you dipshit. Yes, and the boom will be called coronials. I actually like that, John. I'm a coronial. Yeah, that would be good. How many someone says I'm being sandwiched between rich people? Did I take their wallets? Nathan says, is Spaz Kid still scared of Jeff the Killer? Well, I don't think, scared per se in an everyday walking around thing, but yeah, if he encounters him on, I could still jump scare him with a good Jeff the Killer meme. Put it that way. Philip says, better in your head than in your rear end. Very true. With most everything. Adam says, just call him Vag. Gotta have a nickname. Chrome says that kid is gonna need therapy and booze. Yeah, that's beyond cruel. What parents do to attract a little bit of attention to themselves, and try and score points with their SJW warrior friends or whatever the case may be. Because there's no solid reason. There's no reason whatsoever outside of absolute idiocy to name your child Vagina. There just isn't. You're just a scumbag if you do it, period. Tim says, house buying and makeover / remodeling shows when I visit my mom since she loves HGTV. I don't know if she still does. I don't see her much anymore. But I have an aunt that always watched that HGTV stuff. See, for me, and that seems to be the case too. It seems to be a niche thing, doesn't it, Tim? When we do watch TV anymore, well, I guess that's a bigger deal to me because I grew up in the TV era. The TV was on all the time. It was the center of attention in your household. That you didn't have, when I was a kid, obviously you didn't have video games in the house or anything like that. Everything revolved around the TV, even though you had Evan, I missed the super chat. Okay, I'll get right to it. Even though you had 3 fucking channels to choose from. So I guess that's why it's more pronounced to me that TV is just kind of like an afterthought now. And again, for me, more often than not, okay. Thank you for catching that, Evan. Arthur says hentai just on TV. See, I typically don't stream my porn to the TV. Although I don't know why I'm not. Might as well get the bigger picture, right? But yeah, it is weird how TV has become secondary. And again, I'm the same way. I'm the same as you guys. Most of what I watch is YouTube and streaming services. Now, I never got into The Office all that much when it was airing. I watched an episode here or there. But Spaz Kid got me into it again, so we've been watching that in its entirety on Netflix. But even then, it's on the TV, but it's not a current TV show. It's being streamed from our device. So yeah, it is weird for me how it's changed. I like this. If nothing else, this COVID-19 thing is going to provide us with lots of puns, and I like puns. Philip says, when the kids born from this quarantine become teens, we need to call them quarantines. Gimster says, just saw the newest Assassin's Creed trailer. Oh, I haven't seen that. Takes place in the Viking era, and it looks pretty damn good to me. Viking era would be cool. Vikings are badasses. Vikings were some sick fucks. I like them. I didn't even hear about that game. Sure, I'll have to look for that. I, I wish I had. Well, I wish I had more time to fill in the blank. But there's a lot of good games out and around now that I'd be playing if I could. People are planning on storming Big Cat Rescue to get that bitch Carol Baskins. Burrito Bandit said, "I never got into that show, and every time Burrito Bandit, and I'm sure it's for you guys too. As soon as you pull up, as soon as you go to Netflix, for ours anyway, that show is just the top priority thing. That's the splash screen you land on. They're just under the assumption that everybody needs to see it. It just that doesn't interest me at all. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would be good, but it holds no interest for me. Domain Healer says, "Wow, Curtis, haven't seen you since the Full Metal reactions. You haven't changed a bit. You're a real homunculus." I've always aspired to homunculousness. I think homunculuses have a lot to offer. Willie says Susan Wojcicki is a bitch. TV, what's that, Lex? Yeah, that's pretty much where most of us are at. That's why I was curious to see if you guys do watch any, and if so, what? Again, my Notre Dame games I watch on TV, and most sports, even though they stream, most sports I end up, if I'm watching on TV. But boy, outside of that, excuse me. Commenter, there's games I want to play that I have no room to download on my PS4. One bad thing about consoles. Yeah, I know, commenter. We've got my PS4 sitting right here. We had to get a portable hard drive to plug into it too. Yeah, because you run out of room so goddamn fast. I watched all the superhero shows. Oh, do you now? See, I haven't watched. And again, I've told you guys before. When I was a kid, the two favorite things I had in life when I was a kid were baseball cards and comic books. And for every gift-giving occasion, anything like that, that's what everybody got me because that's all I was into. I spent more hours playing with baseball cards than I could ever even describe to you guys. I just was a fanatic for baseball. Man, I played with them so much. To this day, I remember, I have a real strong memory of what cards I had. And when you look up the value of them now, it's like, holy shit. Arcane Mystic. Hey, Curtis, regular show and Adventure Time were the shit. Completely agree. Love them. Also, react please to the Bleach openings and endings where you're done Bleach. They're pretty lit. Probably won't be reacting to those. No, I probably won't post reactions to them. Yeah, regular show and Adventure Time. And that's true. When I do, I hadn't even thought about that, but when I do watch TV outside of sports, it typically is cartoons. But I've always been into cartoons. That's like my default. Okay, if I got to sit down in the living room for a little bit and fiddle with something and I want something on, I usually will click over to Cartoon Network or someplace like that. So that's true. I think as background noise and stuff, it's typically always cartoons. M says, I use Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Amazon, etc., and I programmed a TV box to stream things for free, so I don't have a set thing I watch. It's just whatever I feel like at the time. That's the beauty of streaming, too. Again, like I said, Brax and I catching up on The Office. It's nice when you can just go in and watch it whenever you want and not have to be on somebody else's schedule. It just, I wish I could relate to you guys when I sit down and think about it, because, again, I've been alive for so goddamn long. But when I think of myself as a kid, I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, whatever, the things that we have now and take for absolute granted are just part of everyday life are things that we never even imagined, literally never even imagined would happen. If you had told, and not just me, anybody at that time, me as a 9-year-old, that someday your telephone is going to be in your pocket and it's going to have access to all the knowledge of the world. You can make a call from anywhere. And not only that, you can call and see one another as you speak. All things like this, that was pure science fiction. And a lot of it was science fiction to the point that nobody had ever even presented it in that manner. And for it to have all taken place in the limited number of years that it has, and when we understand the fact that advances in technology only increase advances in technology because the technology itself can expand and make further technology, it's almost scary. Philip says, hey, I got to say Lust was hot. She could play with my Philosopher's Stones all night long. Could not agree more. Couldn't agree more. She was really hot, of course, at the end there. once Mustang got a hold of her. But yeah. Mustang, yeah. Lust, as you guys saw when we were doing the waifu list. A lot of waifu respect for Lust. Jacob says, have you ever been fisted by Elton John? If I did, I don't have it on tape, but it's possible. Hey, Ria, thank you. I appreciate that. Edgar said, when I watched TV as a kid, I watched Playboy. I remember when the Playboy channel came out. I was like, oh. Well, when the big thing for us was, because I was a teenager at the time, when my grandmother first got cable and they got HBO, and I was like, there's titty movies on here. And of course, my cousin and I would stay up and wait till everybody else went to bed and watch all the titty movies. It was like, no. There's a whole new world open up. Fuck you, Train. No titties for you. Captain Kidd says, hey, Curtis, sorry to go off topic. Oh, no, these streams, there is no on topic. You can talk about whatever you want. But I know you used to host call-in shows back in the day. Would you ever consider doing a call-in stream? We did do those before. Actually, unfortunately, we don't have that same ability, at least to this point, where the podcast I'm going to be doing, I'm going to have a Patreon set up for. That streaming service that I use, I have to pay for it. That streaming service that I use would be the ideal way to go, because that one, I can, if you're watching the stream, I can just click on your name and invite you into the stream, and you can come in with, it doesn't matter, just on your device, on your phone, whatever, with video and audio, and I believe we can also do it with just audio. So I'm probably going to be doing that, but I don't know if I'll be doing it here or not. It's a little more complicated, at least for right now, to do it here. Plus, you have that lag as a pain in the ass, whereas the other streaming service, it's all real time. As I say it, you guys hear it. So that, I think too, that kind of got me spoiled. It's like, oh man, to go through all the different hoops you got to jump through to do that on YouTube, and over there it's just like, oh yeah, you want to call in? I click on your name and you're there. It's a really cool system. I say it's kind of pricey, but it's worth it. Excuse me. Big Dave says, I'm currently binge watching your Naruto vids. Naruto was fun. Naruto was a lot of fun, Dave. Naruto was the first true anime that I watched in entirety from start to finish, because I started with Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Then that got me interested in seeing what Dragon Ball was about, but Dragon Ball Z I watched in clips from YouTube. I never watched it in continuity, and Naruto was the first one that was start to finish. Oh, that's a great... Well, Johnny, a lot of you guys know Roberto Clemente was my boy. He was my hero. I have a list, just a small list of 5 or 6 childhood heroes. Clemente's at the top of that list. And Johnny says, my grandpa has a 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card. I know exactly what that card looks like. I never had his rookie. That was, I was born in 61, so obviously it was a little before my time. I had tons of Clemente cards, tons of them that are really super valuable now. But I never had the rookie card. That's a good one. As a matter of fact, a lot of the baseball cards I still did have. Just the other day, my grandson is a sports fanatic. He's almost got an eidetic memory when it comes to sports. It's almost scary what the kid can remember, anything sports related. And, I've gotten, as you guys can see, I've gotten so much into anime that as far as the stuff that I use to decorate or the knickknacks that I had, they're all anime related, and that's what I enjoy now. So the baseball cards I have, I never look at them or take them out or anything. So I just gave him some, and one of the ones I gave him was a special edition Clemente card that actually has a piece of a ring in it. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool card. But no, I never had that rookie. I had every Topps Clemente card throughout the entirety of the 70s and most of the 60s, but I never had the rookie. Well, the entirety of the 70s. The entirety of the 60s and part of the 70s, died in 72. But that I never got back into the 50s. Brian says, off topic, have you ever looked into Second Life and Sansar both streaming. What kind of avatar and vocation would you add if you had Second Life? I know of Second Life, Brian. I think I even set up an account there at one time. I was looking into it, but I don't really remember much about it. What kind of avatar and vocation? I have no idea. I have no clue what I would even set up, but I know a little bit about it. The other one, Sansar, I don't know anything about that, but Second Life I've looked into. Johnny says, yeah, the rookie card is worth a pretty penny. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. And the thing with Clemente is he's in that realm of players where the value never goes down, it only goes up. And that's, people that aren't collectors would say, well, duh, that makes sense, but it's not true. A lot of the different players just don't age as well for whatever reason. But Clemente, Mickey Mantle, guys like that, the sky's the limit. Philip says, hey, Curtis, you and kids should play and stream Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I love the Call of Duty games. There's just, I don't really have time in the day to do any. We could stream them because he plays on his PC. I play on Call of Duty. I play on the PS4, which is sitting right here next to me. And now, of course, you can cross-platform. As a matter of fact, we've been talking about wanting, because he was playing some with his buddies the other day, we were talking about wanting to play a little, and we haven't even gotten a chance to sit down and play it together. But I'll always love COD, except for when they went into that little string there where they were having the double jumps and all the space horse shit. That's when the series lost me. But now they've come back to more reality in the fighting. Let's see. Leslie says, I just watched Beyblade Burst, Turbo, and Looney Tunes shows. Oh, Looney Tunes. That was my childhood. Waterground says, I watched the Issei Boob Dragon song from High School DxD on YouTube. Well, for those of you who weren't in the other day, we just found out that, it was in our stream here. We just found out that the Goosh Goosh, the video clip on YouTube, and I had the name. Oh God, I had the name of the anime the other day. Tokyo Tribe 2. That started all this and inspired the name, the Goosh, and everything. Is they finally took it off YouTube because they had buried it already. It was real difficult to find it. You couldn't find it with a regular search. You had to know where it was. But yeah, now it's gone. I was kind of bummed when I saw that it wasn't around anymore, and I never kept the full clip, just what we use as our intro over at the Goosh. Yeah, here it is. This video has been removed for violating YouTube's policy on nudity or sexual content. I have no idea what they're talking about. That was as chill, easygoing, and non-controversial a video clip as I've ever seen. Susan. Well, thanks, Evan. I appreciate that. Thank you. When I was little, I was never into television that much. I spent most of my time reading Batman comics, Mad Magazine. Yeah, I read Mad Magazine all the time, Madman. Remember what was the other magazine? Oh, Cracked. Because Mad was so popular, they started Cracked Magazine. I used to read that occasionally too, but Mad was the good one. Yep, and, well, not just Batman comics. Batman was my hero on TV because I loved the original series. But I read Batman comics, Superman comics, any of the superheroes. Oh, somebody did re-upload it, Lude? Oh, okay. So it's just not on YouTube at its original link that we watched from. Oh, okay. That's cool. Well, of course, we know it is YouTube. Usually there's always somebody to back up something as cool as the Goosh Goosh Man. It was, yeah, Big Dave. That's what Lude was just saying. Yeah, it did get re-uploaded. Well, that's good. I'm glad it's still on there then. I read Calvin and Hobbes all the time, Evan. Loved Calvin and Hobbes. Again, anything drawn, anything animated, I was into. Loved Calvin and Hobbes. I showed the gang the other day that there's been a lot of fan art done of depicting a final episode or a final strip for Calvin and Hobbes, and I showed the gang the other day the one that was my favorite. It was really really sad, much sadder than the actual final strip. I also loved I don't know how many of you would have been into this. Bloom County. Anybody remember the Bloom County comic strip? I enjoyed that one a lot. Blue Drum Torso says, watched another episode of The Walking Dead last night. Captain Tom doing another lap of his bastard garden. I played the game, the original Walking Dead game. I played all the way through, but I still haven't watched the Walking Dead series at all. My daughter was way into it for a while. She first few seasons, I think she said on the more recent one she kind of lost interest, but she was into it for a while. Philip says, off topic, but my daughter brought her first boyfriend home. Uh-oh. And I think I scared him. But in my defense, she knows I clean my Barrett 50 cal on Fridays and the shotgun, so she can't be mad at me, right? Nope. Can't be mad at you. Hey, listen, you got a routine to do. If the boyfriend just happens to stumble in on that routine, then then it's not your problem. We had something similar happen here once back when my oldest daughter was still in high school, and I had a thing when I was doing a wrestling show. I don't like going to the hospital, and I hate going to hospitals that I don't know. I at least want to be close to home. So, needless to say, I would come home from wrestling shows looking like I just come out of the battlefield of of the Revolutionary War or something, with bandages just kind of strung around my head and stuff, and things just kind of glued together. And I did a show like that. It was an afternoon show because I remember I got home. It wasn't super late, and I remember the show had been over. It was over east of me. It was in New England somewhere. But anyway, I remember getting home and it was particularly brutal. And same thing. The paramedic said, "Well, you gotta go to the hospital, get stitches." I said, "Fuck you, I'm not getting stitches. Tape it." So we'd put gauze on and just run it around my head and everything. And I remember getting home, and right after I got in, I'm getting ready to go take a shower and stuff. My wife was getting ready to look at the wounds for me and see what she could do, because I would super glue them together. And as we're doing it, somebody comes to the door. So I just happened to be walking down from getting my stuff for the shower. I open the door. And there's some friend of my daughter's. I think it was a boyfriend. It was a dude. I don't know if it was just a friend or a boyfriend or whatever. But you open the door, and there's just blood still dripping down the side of my face. I'm all scarred up and beat up. My hands were bleeding. I think I gotten them cut on the barbed wire of the barbed wire baseball bat. I just wish I had on tape. The kid goes like that. That was a good impression to make if it was a potential boyfriend, is what I'm trying to say. It was kind of like an instantaneous realization that he's not going to be the first person I killed. uh, Johnny says, my daughter is 7, so I have a while before I have to deal with that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not a fun part at all. Yeah, Lute, it was. I still remember his face. He was a good kid too. I can't remember his name. Saw a little bit of him. He wasn't like real in my daughter's inner circle of friends, but he was around here or there. Sam says, I really hope you watch Boruto. Probably not. It does have its problems, but it really fleshes out Sasuke because they do the same thing for Vegeta and Super they do for Sasuke and Boruto. Given that what we watch is put largely things that are put up to a vote at the Goosh, it's very unlikely. It's the gang there. It's not a well-liked series over there. And I designate the series that go at the $1 level, but I know it's not going to be Boruto. It would literally be years before it would be Boruto. I have so many other things lined up that I want to put there. So, yeah, I probably won't be watching anytime soon. The boyfriend must have thought that you had been resurrected from the dead. Yeah, it was a rough one, Tempest King. I used to come home looking pretty beat up because I was pretty beat up a lot, but that was a particularly bad one. I remember that. Evan says it's so hard being a single mom when you have no kids in our mail. I know people don't appreciate what a challenge that is, Evan. It is. It's a difficult existence, and people just don't have any sympathy for it. Fuck off, Train. Your existence offends me. Lute is that answering Chrome. BG says we'd have to be starved for anime before Boruto gets put on. Yeah. There's BG. There's so many titles that get mention. Well, look at when we do a nominations. How many would you guys say? There's probably not the poll, the nominations. How many different series get nominated every time? Would you say probably 40? At least 40, because we'll usually get the poll. There's been so many nominated that the poll usually have like 8 to 12. So at least 40 different series get nominated. And of those series, none of them are Boruto. Demon Slayer was great, Big Dave. I love Demon Slayer. I can't wait for more of that. I love that show. Chrome says, hell, I'd expect all the shoujo series I want on the Goose before Boruto shows up. Oh, I think they would. Cardcaptor, Sakura, Sailor Moon, Violet Evergarden. You'd have 4 kids before Boruto, genuinely. Well, Chrome, just look at when you sponsored Cardcaptor Sakura, and then Lifers, backed up with another episode of it. Just look at the reaction to it. People were all enthused about seeing that up there. Same thing with Uran High School. The reaction was, everybody had a very positive reaction to it. That alone tells you that they would all get voted in before Boruto. Johnny says, I'm a 25-year-old single dad. It's not all that hard for me thanks to my mom. In pretty much everything in life. But yeah, when you've got good, solid parents behind you, all of life becomes much more manageable. I said fuck off, train. God damn it. Have you guys noticed, because I have, ever since we talked about how the trains haven't been as prevalent, they picked right back up to the old standards? Philip says, my routine is Monday the pistols, all 280 of them. Tuesday is AR-15s, just 30, no big deal. and that's right. Hey, she's got to understand, your routine comes first. Some boyfriend wants to come in and witness the routine, by all means, take good notice. Philip says, Wednesday is church, Thursday is rifles for hunting, and Friday is shotguns and sniper rifles. Again, not a big collection. My dad is double mine size. Wow. All I have now, I have a little 22 that was actually given to Braxton by a good friend of mine who is a gun enthusiast. He actually used to be a licensed gun dealer, and he gave that to him when he was born. And then for my own home protection, I recently went out and bought a 12 gauge. So I have a shotgun as well in the house, but that's all I have right now. I've had tons of guns over the years because, again, as I said, we grew up out in the country where you could literally walk out our back door and, it's been ages, probably 150 yards back was a huge mountain basically in the back of our house. So you could set up targets along this tree that had fallen down and shoot all day because there was no issues, no concerns, because the bullets went right into the side of the mountain. So yeah, it was all about, we did a lot of shooting when I was a kid. Gimster says, when I was on another stream, I asked them if they'd be able to do a non-stop marathon stream reaction on YouTube to all of One Piece. I even offered them a $10 donation, but they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't? Dicks. How long could that take? Year? Maybe. They're being babies. BG says, I'm not judging. I've watched shoujo before. I just didn't think there was interest for it on the channel. I'll tell you, the reaction's been good to the shoujo that Chrome has been sponsoring, though, Big Green. And to be fair, I've liked what she put out there. I thought the characters are really well written. I thought the stories are attractive. This Cardcaptor Sakura, I've said it in the reaction videos, and that's how it strikes me. The first thing I keep thinking is, yeah, my granddaughter, this would be something fun to be able to watch with my granddaughter. She would like that a lot. But I think the story on it's really cute. That all those cards escaping and having to go basically fetch them all with the magical rodent with her and everything. There's Spaz Kid with his chocolate milk. Spaz Kid is the #1 chocolate milk aficionado possibly on the planet. Philip says, just to clarify, my daughter is 13, her boyfriend is 14. So yeah. Well, listen, Philip, I'm with you. There's no age is too young to have the fear properly instilled in him. So having having him come in and having arrived at gun cleaning time is perfectly appropriate. Oh no, I told you guys to remind me. I'd forget. John Rivera says, have we talked about the UFO Pentagon video yet? No. Now tomorrow's Free for All Friday, but not that it always helps. But let me make myself a note because we did want to talk about that. I want to, but in the stream we do it. I want to title it with that. Um. But I should be able to stream at least one of the days on the weekend. I'm just gonna write UFO stream. Maybe that'll make me remember. And I'll title it with that because I do want to talk about that. I'm fascinated by that, and I know a lot of you guys are too. So thank you, John. I made a note. Let's see if that helps. Who knows? Is Spaz Kid a kid anymore? He looks like mid to late teens. No, he's beyond that. He left his teens, Raymond. As of February, he's 20. Doesn't seem possible. You know, when we started the channel and he was a little squeaker, it just doesn't seem possible. Tempest King says, yesterday I ran out of sanitizers, and when I saw one, my brother wrestled me, but I tornado DDT'd him and took the victory of beating him. And the sanitizer. Did I ever get to finish Skyrim? No, Big Dave. I've watched more than I've played it. I've watched Brax play a lot of Skyrim. I just always thought that was an absolutely gorgeous game. And so I watched him play through it. So I have a decent little bit of knowledge about that specific version of it. But it wasn't me playing, it was me watching. What happened yesterday, I didn't stream yesterday because we had a major meltdown would be the literal term for it. Spaz Kid's PC just quit on him, just stopped. And so him and I came up and we start pulling it apart. Well, it's partially my fault for not reminding him. We had his tower sitting on the floor. Well, as you guys see, the dogs are in here all the time, and it attracted so much hair that it heated up. It fried the power supply and the video card. So yesterday it took it. We're all afternoon yesterday just diagnosing to make sure that nothing else had been damaged. I'm not gonna invest in parts if everything else was gone as well, or if it had done damage to the motherboard. But we're able to isolate it. It does appear to have just been the power supply and the video card. So I've ordered replacements, and but that was how him and I spent our afternoon yesterday. Smokey Loki says the reason aliens let us live is anime titties. You know what? I think that's legit because if nothing else, I mean, there may not be a lot of redeeming value to humans, but I think anime titties are absolutely redeeming. Absolutely. Time to unleash the power of your devil fruit powers, the punch fruit. That I wish there was a punch fruit. That's the one I would eat. You guys know me. I'm all about blunt force trauma. That's why when they talk about, whenever we talk about what abilities from anime or stuff we'd most want to have, it's typically Goku, Saitama, stuff like that. Because punch fruit would be fucking awesome. Tempest King says, Curtis, I actually look like Spaz Kid. I ain't even kidding. I have the same glasses. That's cool. Chrome says, funny thing keeps popping up in anime communities is the belief that Boruto, Black Clover, and MHA are the new big three. People now don't really get what the real big three were. Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. Yeah, I'm not as connected as some of you guys. But MHA, if there were a new big three, I think MHA is clearly one of them. But I don't know, Black Clover and Boruto. The little bit I know, I don't know that much about Black Clover. I don't think Boruto ever, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it ever really gained enough mainstream love to be considered a big three. My Hero Academia clearly did. You have things currently like Demon Slayer that everybody's agog for. I know there's only a limited number of episodes, but still. And now this Dr. Stone, everybody's really freaked out for. I think it's I would disagree with that too, Chrome. Well, thanks, Miko. I appreciate that. I have literally at least 200 hours sunk into Skyrim at this point, Big Dave says. Skyrim was, for me, the original gorgeous game as far as the look. That's what always fascinated me with Skyrim. And this game that BTG has been sponsoring over at the Goose, this Horizon Zero Dawn, that's a pretty game too. I really love that game. Is fun. I finally started to get. We've played it. Done a few. He's sponsored a few episodes, so I'm starting to get a little bit. You guys know me. A little bit of a better feel of the controls and the mission, so on and so forth. But the visuals in that game are just stunning. P2 says, want to place bets on Queen of England dying in 2020? P2, you say that and you think, God, the odds got to be definitely in favor of that happening, of her being gone. But you could probably make a case for that back to 1970. It just seems like, all I know is it seems like ever since I was a kid, it seems like the Queen has been a really old lady. I would be scared to make that bet because I'm not sure she's ever going to die. I don't know if it's maybe it's all the inbreeding that went on in the royal bloodlines or something that have made her impervious to death. I don't know. There won't be a new big three, if ever, until after One Piece. Yeah, I guess you could say that too, Arthur, because, again, one of the original big three is still ongoing. Yeah, that's true, too. That's true. That could be true. Gimster says that if Boruto is part of the new big three, it's the Sakura of the group. I would agree. Because, again, I mean, I think the only thing that if you were to pick a new big three, for me, the only thing that would even get Boruto remotely in the conversation is its lineage, is that it's attached to Naruto and Shippuden. To me, and again, I'm not going to come down too hard on Boruto because, in fairness, I haven't watched it. I do know a little bit about it. I know what the storylines are. I have some familiarity with the characters, and given all that, and I loved Naruto and I loved Shippuden. It's never struck me as something that I need to see. And I detail for you why if I knew. It's just sometimes things just are what they are, and I've just never really had that desire to see more. Like Demon Slayer, we got done with that season. It's like, oh man, I can't fucking wait for more of this. Are you kidding me? This ain't Attack on Titan. It's like, oh man, I got to see what's on the other side of that goddamn ocean, And I was satisfied with the end of Shippuden, loved the end. And then when there was more, it was just never like, oh yeah, I need to see that. It never interested me. And again, it's not a knock against it. It's just a fact. It just never caught my attention. Wolverine says, Sakura is definitely better than Hinata. For those who don't know, Wolverine is the number one Sakura fan you will find anywhere. Das Rote says, TV, I'm 27 years old and even I feel old now. Yeah. I'm about to stop watching your Korean cartoons. Rick says. P2 says, I don't want to spread hate, but Boruto is not worthy. Yeah, well, see, the thing is, P2, you're certainly not alone with that. I know, actually, because Boruto, I'm trying to remember the timing. Yeah, Boruto, did it first come out or was in its early stages while I was still watching Shippuden? And so, of course, there was lots of conversation about it. And I do remember, and this came from a lot of people who I've gotten to know you guys through the channel here, and people I've gotten to know whose opinions I respect, who have been part of putting me in touch with a lot of the anime that I really loved. And these same people were saying, this is the drizzling shits. And I didn't really hear much of anything good until was it episode 65? Was it 50? I must have dyslexia. It was 56 or 65. There was one episode I know where everybody said, okay, finally Boruto did something well. I remember everybody saying something about there was a huge fight in there that was really well done. But until that point, I'd heard next to nothing good. Arthur says Big Three is battle for top rank. Oh, One Piece definitely has locked in. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. Well, you were probably here, Arthur. We were talking about how it's amazing that given the head start that Batman and Superman books, comics had, it's amazing that One Piece is about to go past all of them. That's crazy. That's just insane to have passed them in such 65. Was it Lifer? I do remember that. I remember everybody getting excited about one specific episode. I thought it was 65, but until that point, I hadn't heard really anything good about it. Let's see. Willie says the only anime I have watched and not enjoyed on any level is Trigun. Oh, you didn't like Trigun, Willie? I did. I enjoyed that. It ended up being, nothing like what I thought it was going to be when it first started, when you got that Old West theme and everything. But I ended up really enjoying it. And the preacher man there, he's one of my favorite characters. He was a great character. Yeah, I enjoyed Trigun, but I've been lucky. Even the anime that I've seen that would be at the bottom of my list was still stuff I enjoyed. Something like Keijo, I enjoyed that. It's not even close to some of the other anime I've seen, but even though it's at the bottom of my list, it was still good. No Game, No Life, that was fun. It was good. It was a really good time. I'm glad I watched it, but it's near the bottom of my list. And given that, No Game, No Life and Keijo is still better than the vast majority of anything I've seen or could see on television. Demon Slayer is amazing, Connor. I love Demon Slayer. Can't wait for more of that. Jack Queen says, seems like there are a million animes now, and some are popular and really good, but the top three were like the ones that helped make it so popular. I agree with that. I see it like a crown they've earned. Yeah, I think so, Jack Queen, because the top three are definitely, as being somebody who came into anime really, really late, the top three are definitely the ones that bridge that divide, that actual literal physical divide of East versus West. Because now, before we started watching, I knew who Goku was. I knew who Naruto was. I even knew who Ichigo was. I didn't. Now, Ichigo, I knew the least of them, but there'd been enough about him in Western culture that I knew there was a character named Ichigo and knew what he looked like. If you had said to me at the time, what anime is he from, I probably wouldn't have been able to come up with it. But those are probably the only three I'm trying to think, unless you go, unless you went into Pokemon or something like that. Those would probably be the only three. Yeah, I think that I knew actual characters from. So they really did. Oh yeah, One Punch Man was great. One Punch Man was fantastic. Canada. Those were the only three that bridged the gap, at least for me. Connor says, I'll watch anything, but you have to have amazing villains. Without that, I won't watch. Villains rule. It's good that you have, everybody has their own thing, that they look for. With me, it's things in anime. BG watches Yu Yu Hakusho. So which one is Goku? No, that one Yu Yu I hadn't heard about until I had actually started getting into anime. No, Goku I knew where he was from. I knew right away that he was from Naruto. So Chrome says the debate of what the big three is for each gen besides Bleach, Naruto, One Piece is always interesting. Such as what was the big three before them besides the obvious Dragon Ball, right? Yeah, having come into the fandom so late, I wouldn't be able to pick that out. Arthur says Naruto is the king of Western influencing anime. Yeah, again, those are the names that I knew. Those are names I knew before I got into anime, and really, I'm thinking of it as we're speaking. I can't think of any other anime characters that I really knew. Oh, thanks, Gene. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Benny and the Jets. Edgar says, "Come on, but man, it's bad enough to have. Well, as was said earlier, better to have Elton John in your head than in other orifices." Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, Katie. I appreciate that. Stormstar says, "Here's a question: when villains get ridiculously popular, why do some writers try and give them redeeming qualities, or worse, completely reform them? We love to hate them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it." Couldn't agree with you more. I think too. For the most part, and I see what you're saying. I think anime is better about that. See, for me, Western entertainment cops out easily. They are perfectly willing to allow themselves to be put in a box. This is acceptable, this isn't acceptable. If you want to make something successful, it has to follow that formula. And I don't think anime gives two shits about any formulas. It's one of the reasons I love it. But yes, I agree with that. We've had conversation about that before. I like sometimes when a villain is just a fucking villain. He or she is just a douchebag because they're a douchebag. They're bad. You don't always have to have a redeeming value. I agree with that completely. Now, that said, there are some villains where I think because of the story, the redemption level makes sense, but not for all of them. I mean, I like when sometimes somebody's a villain just because you're a piece of shit. I want Elton John in my orifice, Lick says. I know, that's going to be stuck in her head, too. She said, yeah, fucking Benny and the Jets. We make jokes and stuff. Elton John was fucking brilliant. He really, truly was. Let's see. John Curtis, Rivera says, "I don't know if you have answered this, but who would win the fight, Goku versus Superman? Goku would want him to win, but Superman would slap shit on him." I'm not really much into power scaling. I just don't have enough in-depth knowledge as others do to make a good call. Obviously, yeah, I would root for Goku too, but from what I've learned about Superman, it all depends on who you're talking about. Because Superman, as near as I can tell, is about 30 different people now. It all depends on what level of evolution. And I understand Goku has evolved as well, but knowing his evolution, it made sense. Whereas it seems to me Superman's is more disjointed. It just seemed like you had Superman initially, the Superman I know from back in the day. And rather than having a straight evolution of, okay, he might discover that he has this power on Earth and now he's got that power and this event happened to him that gave him another power. It's just like, well, anytime we see he's got a weakness, let's just throw in some plot armor so he can defeat that. And now let's you know what? He might not be the strongest potentially in the universe ever, so let's just give him this power too. That's what it seems like to me. And that I don't care for that. It's like Superman is Superman. If he's going to be something more, at least make it continuous and believable. So many different authors, John says, yeah, that's why it kind of put me off. And you guys taught me about that. I didn't even realize they had done that with Superman until we've had those types of conversation. And you guys would explain to me that, oh no, well, in this version, now Superman can do this. Then in that version, he could do that. Then somebody else said, well, then they nerfed him back down again because the fan base was mad. So it's almost hard to compare him anymore. Excuse me. Sajil says, during the Naruto era, it felt like I was watching history being made. Watching Boruto, it doesn't feel even close to that. Feels like I went over to a friend's and he was watching it, so I joined in. I think I understand I haven't watched Boruto, but I understand what you're getting to because I felt the same way. In watching Naruto, you're watching something really exceptional. The storytelling, the characters, everything about it. There was that feeling of awe throughout. I completely agree with that. It feels special the whole time you're watching it. Smokey Loki says, Curtis, what if the One Piece writers anticipated viewers skipping filler, so they snuck in peaks of Nami and Robin nips or side boob in filler episodes? Oh, well, the only fortunate thing there is, Loki, I'm in tune enough to what goes on in the anime community that if there was some real legitimate titty to be seen, I'm sure somebody would have gotten me into that. Somebody somewhere would have said, okay, here's the link you need to go see that. Yeah, because I couldn't miss that. That would be inexcusable. Oh, my girl Nico Robin. And now at least I know, again, I knew what Boa Hancock looked like, but now at least I understand who Boa Hancock is. And as far as waifu, I obviously she's ridiculously gorgeous, but as far as waifu material, I don't think she'll ever pass Nico Robin for me though. There's just so much about Nico Robin's personality, her demeanor, just the way she carries herself that makes her a tough one to beat. Waterground says, honestly, MHA took a while for me to watch this because I thought Deku was annoying for being a crybaby, but then my mind changed after and making him relatable. I'm putting the comment in two parts. Yeah, I enjoyed MHA. They really did. Good characters, good solid base of storytelling. Yeah, I think so. Chrome says it feels like the only way they think they can tell an interesting story is to eventually destroy Naruto's legacy and make him a depressed, overworked office worker of a Hokage and marry Sue Boruto. I, yeah, what I understand about where they took his character, Chrome, and again, in fair, I'll say it again because I do want to be fair about it. I haven't watched Boruto, haven't read the manga, haven't seen it, haven't read it. But from what people are telling me about where Naruto is in it, I don't know that I'd like that. I just. P2 says Boruto, the show seems like an unplanned kid, to be honest. Oh. A bastard child. Hancock is shit waifu. You think so, wifer? I don't know if I'd call her a shit waifu. No, I wouldn't go that far because I think she's gorgeous. But yeah, she won't. Things could change, but as it stands right now, she would clearly be below Nico Robin for me, and below Nami as well. Yeah, Tigger's Meth Dealer says, "Hey, did you know there's another Dragon Ball Z short from Team 4 Star? I know TFS posted another short. As soon as I get the time to squeeze it in, I'll be posting that to the YouTube channel. A reaction to it. Yeah, anything TFS does, I want to see. Excuse me. Let's see. Big Dave says, "Do you need to be a Patreon donator to become a Goosher on Discord?" Well, the Discord just has a Patreon section. Yes, I mean you can go join up or just become a part of the Discord for the vast majority of everything that's over there. But there is a section for those from the Goosh. Yes. When I was on there though, I don't think that's even used all that much. Typically, most of the social interactions we have at the Goosh, we have them over at the Patreon. So I think that's why it's not used an awful lot. Yeah, Arcane Mystic, yes they do. Hey Curtis, bitches love cannons. My number one waifu. She's this just again, if it were just based on looks, as much as she's insanely attractive, Ceres would not be able to maintain that number one spot. But because of the character and who she is, she locks it right down. M says, Boa has a weird personality for me. The bitch part is fine. Yeah, for me too so far. It's still early for me. I just met Boa Hancock a few episodes ago. But yeah, definitely a different personality. At least I learned now, some of her background, which, of course, contributes to everybody's individual personality. And the whole being a slave thing sucks ass. So, but yeah, she's, for me anyway, I don't think there's any way she ever beats Nico Robin, and at least for now, she's definitely below Nami as well. Excuse me. Gimster says, to quote Giga, when it comes to classic weeaboo talk, your waifu is shit is a good way to start a fight. Yes. I would agree. I would fight over Ceres. Yeah, I would. She's okay, don't care much for her, but she's interesting, M says. Oh, I think she's definitely interesting, especially now that I do know more of her background. I did like the smile on her face when that episode I just recently watched, when Luffy says, huh, me? I hate the Celestial Dragons, and Boa Hancock just slowly gets that grin, and she's like, oh, you wanted a ride? That was cool. Chrome says, keep saying it, but I genuinely believe Sarada should have been the main character of Boruto. She has an interesting story, but girls can't be useful in Naruto. Oh, nope, only son of God Boruto. Now, he did, I think he did admit at one point, didn't he, that he just wasn't good at writing female characters? I believe he did. Didn't you guys tell me that? And you see it. And I think that's why Sakura gets all the hate she does, because there were a lot more ways she could have been expanded. There were a lot of ways she could have been a much better, more complete character, and it was never taken advantage of. He did, Jack Queen? I thought so. I thought you guys had told me that. And you got to respect that, though. If somebody has a particular failing at something like that, and they're willing to say, yeah, I wasn't very good at that, you got to respect it. But I think that's what makes Sakura as despised, as dismissed as she is the writing just never took advantage of the potential her character had. Straga says, none of the anime females compare to the Bleach females. I'm starting to see that. I just can't see any other cast that does what that cast does for me. Yeah, I'm getting there with you, Straga. I mean, they're rather impressive. Yeah. Arthur says, next post, I don't understand why Boa and her sisters came out of it hating men instead of celestial dragons, especially since there are female dragons and they were saved by a man. Yeah, and again, I'm still early on in learning their background and everything, Arthur. But I think, because then they say, I kind of get it, because when they were slaves, it was the men that were doing unspeakable things to them. So I kind of get that. And yeah, and they were saved by a man, though. You're right, because I'm remembering the story as we talk, and it was a man that freed them all. But I guess it's just hard when the up close and personal experiences they have with men was not good. Big Dave says, fun fact, Naruto was supposed to marry Sakura, as Sakura was based on the creator's wife, and she was irritated when it was changed to Naruhina. Oh, really? Naruto was supposed to marry Sakura? That I didn't know that. I don't find that hard to believe, though. The way that the show was unfolding, I don't find that hard to believe. Yeah, Jack Queen says, because the implication in One Piece that they couldn't come out and say it as they were raped to shit. That's what I was thinking, Jack Queen. That's the vibe I got as well. So that's why I can see why they would be man haters, even though it was a man who freed them. It would be almost impossible to get past the life they led as slaves. Lude says Boa is below Robin but above Nami in the waifu tier list. I love Robin's demeanor and her being a history nut, but Nami just annoys me. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing with Robin. All three of them are ridiculously gorgeous, but I just love Robin's, as you said, Lude, her demeanor. She's just always in control. She's got that calm, cool, collected badassery about her, and I like that a lot. I like strong women. Imagine Sai married Sakura, Canada says. That was one of my all-time great. Whenever I'm trying to predict what'll happen in a series or something like that, sometimes I'll get a hit here or there, and it's like, it's called that. And then sometimes I swing wildly and missed, and Sai still has to be one of my all-time great misses, because when we were first being introduced to it, I was like, okay, is he? I remember thinking this through and going, I think he's part of the Uchiha clan. No. Arthur says, no, I get that, but you'd think they'd assign that hate specifically to the Celestial Dragon since it was obviously specific to them. That part's true. And yeah, she clearly hated them. That's what brought, I had mentioned I think I even wrote it in the comment or in the description of the one video, nothing will bring two people together as comrades quicker than a truly mutually hated enemy. And that's what got Boa and Luffy on the same page, was the hatred for those scum. Oh, the Celestial Dragons are garbage. My brother James had a mega crush on Tamari. That's understandable. Tamari, when she got older, Tamari was hot, thick. Itachi's here says, "Hello, where's Sasuke?" Dylan O'Rourke says, "Someone make Curtis an anime protagonist." John says, "Think about this. 50 people are here talking to a man in his late 50s about which Japanese cartoon female character would married. It's a it's a darn world, but a sexy one. Yes, it is." Adult me has a crush on Ramen Guy's daughter. She was cute, Lex. Yeah, she was cute. She was always cute. Tamari was sexy as fuck. Yeah, especially again after that time skip thing. Yeah, she was. Yes, she was. I tell you, as once they became milfs, the whole crew there. I for me specifically, I would put Tamari over Hinata. She was really cute. Adult me touches the kid in me, Jack Queen says. Adult me has a crush on Ramen Guy. No homo, BG says. I think we all have some level of crush on Ramen Guy, though, BG. Ramen Guy and Rower Guy. How can you not have a crush on those two, though? Seriously. Doesn't. Again, no homo has to be involved. You just have to have that crush. All right, guys. Oh, I gotta go. I got a little bit more to do today. I just before I came over here, I just posted the final Goosher 100 video of the month over at the Goosh, but I still got some editing to do for tomorrow's lineup of vids. This was fun. I enjoyed this conversation. Now, very importantly, we all know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is Free for All Friday, and again, why the day on a specific day of the week matters, I don't know, but we all know that Fridays tend to be fucked up, and fucked up is something I truly enjoy. So, as always, gather around, gather in. It's Thursday, so it's Free for All Friday sticky stuff. It's the kind of sticky stuff that it feels good and it's awesome and everything, but it's like there's a little something more to be had. And then tomorrow you come in for Free for All Friday and it's there. So here, get your Free for All Friday. It's sticky stuff for everybody. Pamfu, 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 pamfu. Sticky stuff. Get it, prep it, and let it lead you to the promised land that's Free for All Friday. And Edgar hits us with Benny and the Jets, just in case we weren't going to have those goddamn Elton John songs stuck in our head all day. Benny and the Jets. Pamfu, pamfu. Sticky stuff for everybody. Well, bang, okay? Flashly like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and in a Free for All Friday mode, goose, 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 goose. Goose.